Imagine a morning in June 1942, but it is not a resounding victory for the U.S. Navy at Midway Island. Instead, thick smoke and fire engulf the entire Pacific Ocean. The three most powerful aircraft carriers of the United States, USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and USS Yorktown, are all sunk in a sea of flames, gradually sinking to the bottom of the deep ocean. American dive bombers fly off course and never find the Japanese fleet. Admiral Chester Nimitz, with a pale face, is forced to order the entire Pacific Fleet to retreat to the west coast of the United States, leaving a huge void on the ocean. In just 5 fateful minutes, the history of the world is completely twisted. If Japan wins the Battle of Midway, could they capture Hawaii and turn it into a forward base? Could the giant battleship Yamato bombard San Francisco, shaking the west coast of America with explosions? And most importantly, could the Axis powers, with Nazi Germany in Europe, win World War II outright? Don't take your eyes off the screen for even a second, because today we will decode the most terrifying scenario in modern history, based on real declassified documents, in-depth analysis from leading historians, and what nearly happened. This video is not pure imagination or empty what-if stories. The entire content is built upon the JN-25B combat records of the U.S. Navy, declassified reports from Station Hypo in Hawaii, the book Shattered Sword by Jonathan Parshall and Anthony Tully, the most detailed analysis from the Japanese perspective, along with strategic analyses from Craig Simons, John Keegan, and many other renowned naval historians. We will take you deep into the real tactical vulnerabilities, fatal mistakes, and moments of luck and misfortune that nearly caused the United States to suffer a disastrous defeat, plunging the entire world into the darkness of fascism. Now, let's dive into the 5 key factors that shaped the Battle of Midway, and why even a small mistake could change everything. The first is the power of the Code War, also known as Project AF. America's real victory at Midway did not begin on the flight decks of aircraft carriers or in the skies, but originated from a damp, secret basement in Hawaii. Lieutenant Commander Joseph Rockefort and his team of codebreakers worked tirelessly to decipher the complex JN-25B code of the Japanese Navy. They not only read the attack plan but also set an incredibly clever trap. The Americans sent an unencrypted message pretending that Midway Island was suffering from a severe shortage of fresh water due to broken water distillers. Just 3 hours later, Japanese intelligence was intercepted with the clear message, AF is short of fresh water. AF was Midway, Japan's attack target had been completely exposed. Imagine if Japan had kept the secret better, like at Pearl Harbor, or if Rockefort made even a small error in the decoding process. At that time, America would have been completely passive, blind like a moth flying into the fire. This intelligence war not only saved Midway but may have saved the entire free civilization. Many historians believe that without Station Hypo, the U.S. fleet might have been destroyed right from the start, and Pacific history would have been rewritten in a much more horrific way. Next is victory disease, the deadly disease of arrogance that gnawed at Japan's leadership. After a continuous string of victories from Pearl Harbor, the Philippines, Malaya, to the Dutch East Indies, the Japanese believed they were invincible. They called it victory disease. In the simulated exercises before the Battle of Midway, when Japanese aircraft carriers were sunk by simulated American fire, Japanese commanders arbitrarily resurrected them because they believed America is not good enough to do that. This complacency led to a series of serious mistakes. They did not equip modern radar, underestimated air reconnaissance, and dangerously dispersed their forces. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, although a strategic genius, was still caught up in the belief that one decisive battle according to the Kantai-Kessen doctrine would make America kneel and beg for negotiations. But in reality, this disease caused them to ignore clear warning signs. Many later historians, especially from the Japanese perspective in Shattered Sword, argue that this arrogance was the greatest enemy of the Japanese Empire, not American power. Do you think that if Japan had been more humble, they could have avoided disaster? Or is arrogance something unavoidable when an empire is on the rise? The third factor is the role of luck and the 5 fateful minutes, the moment when history hung by a thin thread. In the real Battle of Midway, the American dive bomber squadrons nearly had to turn back due to running out of fuel, flying off course and failing to find the Japanese fleet. But then they accidentally spotted the white swirling wake of the destroyer Ayrshire, the ship rushing to catch up with the main fleet after attacking an American submarine. That very wake guided the American plane straight to the target at the exact moment when the Japanese aircraft carriers were in their most vulnerable state. Their decks were filled with aircraft, bombs, and fuel that had not yet been stowed away or cleared. In just 5 short minutes, 3 Japanese aircraft carriers, Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu, turned into giant time bombs and exploded violently. Imagine, if that wake had not appeared, or if the American pilots had flown in the wrong direction for a few more minutes, then the 3 American aircraft carriers would have been wiped out instead of the Japanese. Luck or fate? Or was it the accumulated chain of Japanese mistakes that pushed them into the trap themselves? Many analyses suggest that these 5 fateful minutes not only decided the battle but may have saved all of Europe from falling into Hitler's hands for much longer. The fourth is the terrifying technological difference: American radar versus Japanese binoculars. While American aircraft carriers like Yorktown were equipped with modern radar capable of detecting enemy aircraft from up to 100 kilometers away, giving them 15 to 20 precious minutes to prepare air defense and launch fighter planes, the Japanese still relied entirely on visual observation through binoculars. Japanese lookouts only spotted American planes when they had already begun diving from high altitude, leaving only about 2 minutes to react. That time gap was the difference between life and death. American radar not only helped with early detection but also coordinated with a more effective air defense system. In contrast, Japanese aircraft carriers became giant powder kegs on the sea, easily attacked when their decks were in chaos. This is clear proof that in modern warfare, technology is often more important than samurai spirit or individual courage. If Japan had invested in radar earlier instead of believing in invincible warrior spirit, would the Battle of Midway have turned out differently? The fifth is damage control capability, the miracle of the aircraft carrier Yorktown, demonstrating the huge difference between the two industrial powers. After the Battle of the Coral Sea, Yorktown was heavily damaged, with its flight deck riddled with holes, the hull leaking oil, and many systems broken. Experts estimated it would take at least 90 days to repair at the Puget Sound shipyard. But Admiral Nimitz issued an urgent order: it must be completed in 3 days. More than 1,400 workers labored non-stop, through the night, welding and replacing parts under floodlights and with the support of the entire Hawaii community, even implementing rolling blackouts to prioritize power for the shipyard. The result was that Yorktown returned to the battlefield just 72 hours later, ready for combat. During the Battle of Midway, when bombed by the Japanese, the ship was temporarily repaired in just 1 hour thanks to the excellent damage control system of the Americans. Japanese pilots returning later even thought they were attacking a completely new aircraft carrier. In contrast, Japan barely had an effective damage control system. 1 bomb hit and an aircraft carrier could easily explode and sink. This gap was not only technical but also industrial culture. America produced and repaired like an assembly line, while Japan was much slower. This is exactly why, even if Japan won Midway in the hypothetical scenario, they would still struggle to keep up with America's war machine. Now, let's delve deep into the hypothesis: what if Japan won at Midway? A scenario that has caused many historians to argue fiercely. Suppose the wake of the destroyer Ayrshire was not spotted, the American squadrons flew completely off course, and the Japanese squadrons launched their attack first. The 3 American aircraft carriers are wiped out, while Japan retains its full force of 4 main aircraft carriers along with hundreds of elite pilots. At that point, Midway could fall into Japanese hands after landing forces seize the island. But what would the consequences be? The first result is that Hawaii would be under serious threat. Although a direct landing on Oahu would be extremely difficult because the island was defended by 100,000 to 150,000 American troops with solid fortifications, Japan could still turn Midway into an air and submarine base to besiege Hawaii, completely cutting off supply lines from the American mainland. Hawaii could become isolated, with civilians and troops gradually exhausted due to lack of food and fuel, forced to surrender or become a huge burden for America. Many analyses suggest that even if they did not capture Hawaii immediately, Japan would control the airspace and seas around the area, forcing America to switch to a completely defensive posture in the Pacific. The second result is that Australia would be in critical isolation. After the Midway victory, Japan would very likely carry out Operation FS to capture Fiji, Samoa, and New Caledonia. This would cut off the vital communication line between America and Australia, turning Australia into a besieged island that receives no reinforcements of aircraft, tanks, or troops from its allies. Australia could face the risk of invasion from the north, or at least suffer severe economic blockade, severely weakening Allied forces in the South Pacific. Guadalcanal, the pivotal battle later, might never happen, or be delayed for many years, allowing Japan to consolidate its defensive line from Midway to the South Pacific Islands. The third result, and also the most controversial, is the ripple effect on the European theater. To salvage the situation in the Pacific, America would be forced to withdraw a large portion of resources from the Atlantic, including aircraft carriers, planes, submarines, and even some army divisions. This means major campaigns like the Normandy landing, D-Day, could be delayed by at least 1 to 2 years, or even longer. Nazi Germany would have more time to consolidate, fortress Europe, strengthen coastal defenses in France, develop secret weapons such as the V-2 rocket or jet aircraft, and focus all its forces on fighting the Soviet Union. Would Stalin have to seek a separate peace with Hitler to avoid collapse? Or would the war on the Eastern Front drag on until 1947 to 1948, leading to millions more deaths? Some historians argue that if America was stuck in the Pacific, Britain might have to fight Germany alone for much longer, and the possibility of the Axis powers winning in Europe would not be unthinkable. However, there are also opinions that America would still firmly stick to the Germany first strategy, only they would have to fight more fiercely and sacrifice much more. But here is the harshest part: even if Japan won the Battle of Midway, they would still find it very difficult to win the overall war. Why? Because America's industrial power was overwhelmingly superior and impossible to match. While Japan took years to build a new aircraft carrier, America could churn out Essex-class carriers at a dizzying speed, a total of 24 ships throughout the war, along with hundreds of escort carriers and thousands of aircraft. Japan's victory at Midway could only prolong the war by 1 to 3 years, making the war even more brutal and deadly, but the final outcome would very likely still be the defeat of the Axis powers under the weight of America's war economy. Japan lacked oil, raw materials, and replacement manpower for the elite pilots and sailors it had lost. They were playing an all-in-hand without enough cards in reserve. Many historians like Parshall and Tully conclude that Midway was not a turning point that completely changed the situation, but only an important milestone on the inevitable path that Japan had chosen when it attacked Pearl Harbor. Do you agree with this scenario? Would the Japanese really dare to land on Hawaii or even bombard San Francisco if they had destroyed the American fleet at Midway? Or would America react even more furiously, pouring all its resources into production and turning defeat into a motivation for revenge? Please leave your opinion in the comments section below. I really want to know your perspectives. Can a single victory change the entire world, or would America's industrial power and determination still crush everything? Comment the most thought-provoking opinions and the most heated debates so we can explore deeper together. If you love brain-teasing historical hypotheses, moments that nearly changed the fate of humanity, and want to hear more about alternate history scenarios based on real documents, please hit like and subscribe to the channel right now. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss next week's video on the hot topic: if Hitler had not attacked the Soviet Union, what would the world be like? Would the Axis powers win? Thank you for watching until the very end. See you again in the next exciting history exploration journeys. Remember that history is not always fair, and even a small decision can change everything.